Hello everyone, it's me Engineer AK and welcome you all to a new lecture series of API 510, that is Pressure Vessel Inspection Code, In-Service Inspection, Rating Repair and Alteration. The disclaimer: so these all lectures are just for educational or understanding purpose. So before implementing it, I will highly recommend you to read the official code, and here are some of the visual that I have made by myself, and some of them I have copied from internet. And the last but not the least, if you find any mistake or if you have any doubt, then let me know in the comment section. I will be glad to hear from you all. So moving toward the first chapter, that is scope. So there are two subsections in it: general applications and the specific applications. Then in general application we have three subtopics, that is coverage, intent and limitations. Then same wise in specific application we have three subtopics, that is exploration and production E&P vessels, excluded and optional services, and recognized technical concepts. So today we will be covering these three topics: coverage, intent and limitation. So now our first subtopic, that is coverage. So what this code basically cover? So this code covered the inspection of in-service pressure vessels. Remember, I have just written it in a red color to stress on this word, that it is for in-service pressure vessels. And second, the pressure relieving devices, PRDs, protect these vessels. Mean anything that is associated or attached with this pressure vessels, we will inspect it. But which vessel? Those which are in service. Now what are the key activities that this code talk about? So the first one is inspection. Inspection is basically to check whether the pressure vessel is safe to operate or use or not, or it is following the code rule or not. So to read this slide, that is checking a pressure vessels to see if it is safe, fit for service and follow the code rule. The second thing that it covered is repair. So what does it basically mean? That if there is any damage or if there is something happened to the vessel and we rectify it or correct it or fix it, so that what we call repair. For example, if we have a vessel and its wall thickness decreases, right, and we install there a patch, or we correct it, or there's nozzle of the pressure vessel which get damaged and we replace it, so that what we call a repair. Now the third is alteration. Alteration is same just like repair, but what is different in it is that this change will affect the pressure vessel holding capability and the mechanical strength. For example, if I have a pressure vessel that is operating at, let's suppose, 100 psi, and after making certain changes, changing nozzle or changing anything else, its pressure increase or decrease from, like, for example, now it is operating at 90 psi. So that change will be considered as alteration. But if I change that nozzle and it doesn't affect the pressure holding capability of the vessel or mechanical strength, then that will be called a repair, right? Now the last is re-rating. What it mean basically to change the operating pressure or temperature. For example, if a vessel is operating at 100 degrees C, and after certain time, if anything we change in it, or we made anything added or remove from it, and its operating temperature is, let's suppose, 120 degree, right? So that will be called re-rating, to change the maximum allowable working pressure or temperature of the vessel. So these are the four key activities that this code revolve around, that It covers inspection, repair, alteration, and rating. So hopefully you all have understand these four concepts. Now moving further, so basically what are the primary applications which vessels basically this code focus on? So there are two type of vessel: hydrocarbon, right, in which we talk about the compound of carbon and hydrogen, and chemical process vessel. Okay, hydrocarbon and chemical process. So these are the two kind of vessel that this code basically cover, or we can say the primary application. But here, just to let make one concept clear, that is vessel. What basically vessel mean? So vessel here refer to a closed container that holds, store, or process fluid, liquid or gas under pressure. Remember, those vessels which have some pressure in it, right? So that's what we call the vessel. Now moving forward, so here I have mentioned some of the chemical process and hydrocarbon industries. So it include the oil refinery, petrochemical plants, gas processing units, chemical manufacturing plants, or fertilizer plants. Now moving further, so hydrocarbon and chemical process vessel, I have just mentioned here a few example to just give you a short or a basic overview. So this is basically a reactor which is the service is coming in from here and it is moving out from here. So that's a kind of pressure vessels, right? It's reactor. And here I have given animation of knockout drum where the condensate basically, or we can say the liquid, is separated from the steam, right? Now moving further, so what are the other applications that this code cover? So if the vessel owner or operator, okay, let me make one thing clear here, that whenever there come the word owner or operator, so it means the company or organization that own and runs the plant. Mean wherever the vessel is installed, we will call that company or the owner of that vessel owner operator. So although this cover the vessel that are used in chemical process or hydrocarbons, but still if the company, I will use company so that is a bit easy to understand. So the company if want, then this code can be applied to other industry as well. For example, power generation industry, food and beverages industries, pulp and paper industries, textile dye industry, and water treatment industries. Mean the vessel that are installed in these industries, if the company want, then they can implement or apply the APA 510 code on their vessel as well. For example, a filter vessels in water treatment plant, so we can, or the company or owner operator can apply this code to his or her industry. Now which vessel are covered? Let's now move toward it. So the first one is the core vessel. So from here you can understand that it is a kind of vessel that is designed based on a certain code. So the pressure vessel must be made or constructed according to a recognized design and fabrication code. For example, ASME boiler pressure vessel code section 8 division 1 and division 2. Remember, this code doesn't cover the division 3. Vessel that is designed based on division 3 are not covered in this in this API. So any vessel that is constructed based on a standard or internationally recognized code, that will be called a core vessel. So this APA 510 can be applied on it. The second one, non-code vessel. So as the name suggests, it is a vessel that is built without a construction code, or we can say it is a locally made vessels. So the third vessel that this code cover is jurisdictional special vessels. These are special pressure vessels that are approved by local authorities or government rules jurisdiction, even if they are not fully built according to ASME or other standard code. So what it basically mean, if there is in any country, if there is some local body or government rules that look after the pressure vessel that design, and they have certain rules, right? So if the vessel is designed based on those special jurisdiction rule, so the APA 510 can also be applied on it. We can also like inspect those vessels as per APA 510. And the last is non-standard vessels. Non-standard vessels are those pressure vessels that were not built according to any recognized design or construction code, like ASME Section 8. They don't have proper design document, a nameplate, or code stamp. So basically, non-standard vessel and code vessel, these are somehow same. So these are the four kind of vessels that are covered by APA 510: code vessel, non-code vessels, jurisdictional special vessels, non-standard vessels. So I hope you got the idea. Now moving further, so I have just give you an example through which we can understand all those vessels that are covered by the where API 510 can be applied. So let's suppose a code vessel, a new propane storage tank built within ASME stamp, right? So if we made or design a vessel based on ASME Section 8, non-code vessel. For example, an old air compressor tank built in 1960 before codes were strictly enforced, right? Like if we talk about a vessel that is designed before 1960 when the code were not strictly followed, so that will be called a non-code vessels. Now jurisdictional special vessel, a custom designed reactor for unique chemical process approved by the state, right? If there is a country and they have a local they have any organization that look after the pressure vessels design, and that is approved by the state, so that will be a jurisdictional special vessel. And the last, non-standard vessel, a simple thick welded separator pot that doesn't fit standard design or formula. So that basically just a few example through which you can get an idea that what these vessels are. Now moving further, so which vessels are not covered in this code? So the first one is decommissioned vessels, mean the vessel that is no more in operating condition and that is removed the piping, everything, the piping that is connected with that are removed. So those vessels are not covered in API 510, or we cannot apply this code on those vessels. And the second one is source inspection of new fabrication, mean a newly built vessel. If there's a brand new vessels that is just arrived from the company or from the factory, so the API 510 cannot be applied on branded new vessels. So these are the two vessels that cannot be covered in API 510, or you cannot apply API 510 on it. A special note here is, for example, if there is a vessel that is temporarily out of service but preserved for future use are still covered by this code. A reactor that is shut down for 6 months due to plant turnaround but is being preserved with nitrogen is temporarily out of service. So what it means basically, if there is a pressure vessels and we have for example we have temporary, that is temporary out of service for maintenance job or due to some reason, but will be used in future, so the API 510 applied on it, right? That will not be like, we cannot move it out from the codes, so we will like those vessels are also covered by the API 510 that are temporarily shut off or that are out of service. Now moving forward, so what is the code hierarchy, or what we can say the precedence? For example, if there is conflict between the two code, right? A construction code and API 10. So which vessels, which code basically we will opt for? So I will give here an example through which we can understand it betterly. So the priority basically will be given to API 510. Why? We will see next. For example, if there is a situation where a pressure vessels develop a small crack that need weld repair, right? A vessel where a crack appear, then SME code says that do full post-weld heat treatment in a furnace after welding. This is a fine for new construction but not practical in the field. So basically, if there is a crack appear, so for example, if the SME code say that you have to do the post-weld heat treatment of the whole vessel after welding, so that is a kind of difficult, or we can say that is impractical. Like for example, we because the vessel is installed in a field and we cannot take it out and we'll bring it to the workshop on some area where we have a setup for the post-weld heat treatment. Now what the problem is that the vessel is large and fixed that cannot be moved to a furnace for post-weld heat treatment. So what API 510 says that allow local post-weld heat or temper bead welding technique as approved in alternative. These methods safely reduce stress without full furnace heating. API 510 flexibility for in-service repair. So basically what it means that if, for example, if there is a crack appear and we have repaired it through welding, so the SME code says that we have to do the full weld heat treatment of the vessels, right? And it is impractical. We cannot take it out the vessel and move it to the furnace and do the post-weld heat treatment. But what API said that okay, you can do a field post-weld heat treatment of that specific area, right? So in that term, like this is just an example, right? For better understanding, it is as I mentioned before that you have to read the code thoroughly. So if there is conflict between the construction code and API 510, so you will go for the API 510, or if I say that you will go for the better to get an idea that in my point of view, that you will go for the code that is flexible and that can be implemented based on that situation. Now the second topic, that is intent. Basically what is the goal of this code. So who can apply this code? First of all, so only owner operator or only company with a skilled engineer or technical support can use this code, right? So what is meant by skilled engineer or technical support? So I have mentioned here. So the first one is an authorized inspection agency, mean they are the official inspection company that check if the vessel is safe, right? An organization that check that the inspection company, that official inspection company, a separate organization or within an organization that can check that the vessel is safe. So that's include they can apply this code. The second one is repair organization, a company or workshop that fix or repair pressure vessels, right? Like if there is a fall, there's any flaw in the vessels and they have to repair. So authorized inspection agency, a repair organization. The third one is an engineer who will plan and approve the repair. We will make the procedure that how and plan all the necessary requirement for repair. The fifth one is the API inspector who must be certified, and the inspector will check that the vessel is safe or is it following the API 510 rules or not. And the last one is examiner. Basically, who is the examiner? That what we call the technicians or staff who perform the non-destructive testing like ultrasonic testing, radiographic testing, penetrant testing, magnetic particle testing, etc. And under the direction of inspector, mean they will perform the NDT and will bring the results to the API inspector, and then based on the result, he will or she will recommend that it is safe or not to use these vessels, or whether it is following the API 510 rules or not. Now moving further, so let's understand these all personalities or people that are included in who can apply this code through a simple example, so you will get a better idea. So imagine a vessel need a major repair, right? So what will the API inspector do? That based on the non-destructive testing, API inspector will identify the problem, that is it safe or not, is there is any repair required or not, or is there is anything else happen, what is happening to the vessel. He will identify it. The second is the engineer. What he will do, for example, if he identify a problem, so the engineer will plan and design the repair or will make the all arrangements. A repair organization. What the repair organization will do, basically, if I say the maintenance team, so they will basically are the repair organization. They will perform the work, repair job. Authorized inspection agency. After repair, the inspection agency will verify the repair was done correctly or not. And the examiner, basically what they will do, that at start they will perform NDT and will bring the results to the inspector, right? If, for example, non-destructive testing they have performed and they will bring the results to inspector. Then if there is a problem, then they will tell the engineer, he will or she will plan and design the repair procedure or the repair arrangement. Then the repair organization will perform the job and then the authorized inspection agency will verify it, right? So this is basically example that I presented in order to tell you that API 510 code, who can apply it, right? So these are the four: inspector, who will be API certified, engineer, repair organization, authorized inspection agency, and examiner. Now, what is the goal of this code? Basically, the goal of this code is to ensure the integrity and safe operation of pressure vessel or pressure equipment, to provide timely and accurate assessment to prevent the downtime of a vessel condition, and at last, if there is any problem in the vessel, so the owner operator or the company should take an immediate action, right? So if there if they have inspector and there is results come out and there is some problem, so and obviously the API inspector will give some recommendations, so the company or the area operator or the owner operator should implement those corrective action or should follow those recommendations to maintain the reliability of the vessel. Now the last topic of today's lecture is the limitation. So there are some limitation. What are these? Let's discuss. So the first one is that this code cannot be used if it goes against government or legal rules, right? But if there are some government or country rules, so this code will not go against it, right? And for example, let's discuss, but there is one exception. For example, if API 510 rules are stricter or safer than the law, then API 510 rule will take the precedence. For example, if a local regulation say that inspect every for example, if there is a vessel and the local regulation or government say that you have to inspect it every 5 years, but let's suppose the API 510 said that no, you have to inspect it after every 3 years, then you must follow API 510. Why? Because it is more safer. Its frequency is more than the local regulations, right? And for example, if we swap it, for example, if the API 510 say no, that you have to inspect it after 5 years, and the local regulations say no, you have to inspect it after 3 years, then you have to follow the local regulation. Mean you have to select those options that lead to the safe operation of vessels, right? Or whose frequency is frequent, right? So that's it from my side. Thank you for listening and watching it. If you have any queries, then let me know in the comment section. I'll be glad to reply you all, and see you in the next lecture. Thank you.